We're back. Cheers.
Are we going?
We're going. We're doing it.
Bottoms up. Ching ching.
Back with some C2S chats here on our YouTube channel. And we have Topher Rose with us, who is our project manager. And today I wanted the guys to chat about something that we don't really chat about. And so online, we strive to create a positive environment, a positive community. We really only share the happy things and the good things. But the reality is that this industry is really hard and it's mentally straining. I think all of us face burnouts at different times. In one of our last videos, Jamie and I chatted about how we can be on totally, one day he's up, I'm down, and then we flip-flop, and it's good that it works out that way. But I think with our entire team, it's the same thing. And so today, not that this is going to be a negative conversation, but I just wanted to chat with you guys about the field and how it truly does impact our mental health, our well-being, our thoughts, like how it carries over into our day-to-day with our families, what challenges we face every day, and then what boundaries we've had to put in place, and share some real-life hard examples. You guys ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
Ready.
So I'll ask you guys some questions too, and then I just want to have a genuine conversation. And as I always say, we're an open book, leave nothing off the table, so we can be super raw and authentic in this conversation. So the first one is just around the emotional toll of construction work. I think a lot of times people thinking about this industry, they're like, I want to get into it. It seems so fun and cool. And they might just be thinking like, all I need to know is how to pick up a hammer, which, you know, Jamie's talked about in other videos too. Like when we hired Topher, he didn't necessarily know a lot about the industry, and he would rather train someone on the physical industry. But what not everyone is set up for is the mental aspect of it. And we always say, like, you went to school for psychology, and that's one of the best things you could probably have, because you've been able to give us insight on clients and sometimes how to remain calm, even though I know it has a huge effect on you too, because you both are just such like down earth, humble people. So
Yeah. I think what's hard is you are taking someone's vision and you're taking someone's money, and you're now becoming responsible for basically making an investment for them, which can come with a ton of responsibility, a ton of pressure. A client will have a vision of what they want for that dollar amount, and then it's your job to execute that vision as close to that dollar amount and as close to perfection as you can in a reasonable amount of time. And so it's like you add all those variables together, and there's a lot of different outcomes that can come from that. And when outcomes don't necessarily align from your perspective to the client's perspective, it's like some chaos can ensue. And so it's how to navigate that chaos when expectations aren't being met, and kind of meeting in the middle on some of that. But yeah, I would say generally speaking, it's a lot of responsibility and a lot of pressure when you take on someone's project. And yeah.
when I always say too, it's like when homeowners are vetting contractors, a lot of times they're just looking at the price and the bottom line. And we try to educate them on truly get to know them, because you're going to be working with them. This is going to be very intimate, as we're in their home. We're in spaces that are private to them. We see a lot of things. We uncover a lot of things. And so I think too, it's like, this is why that's so important. And sometimes that's overlooked, not only from their aspect, but from ours too.
Right.
And I think we have a vetting process that we've gotten good at. However, I even say, like, even our best clients, our nicest clients, like, it's almost like disappointment can happen, and then we feel so bad.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't know one project, honestly, unless you guys do that. It's like
Pointed at like
that we didn't feel a little bit like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's part of it too. Like, you're never going to have perfection beginning to end. Like on a typical project, how many people do we have through that project? We have probably, 10 different contractors, and each team could be, 2 to 5 people. So you have 30-ish or more people coming in, and they're all working with their hands. Like, things are not going to be perfect.
Especially remodel, where you're not
Right.
starting
Sure.
from scratch. You're undoing something typically and then trying to make something look brand new when it's like your kitchen's over here, but then you have your living room that you're not touching.
Yeah,
but
blending
then
the
these
two.
have to be cohesive, and this is old, that's new. So where do you stop? So
Or you even have to funnel people through that, which we've had run into that too. And so there could be situations where they're, not necessarily damaging, but there's high traffic in
Right.
areas that we didn't touch. And so
Yeah.
frustrations,
The
lots
nick,
of
the
frustrations.
nick on the wall or whatever it might be that had lived there for 5 years before now comes apparent to them, and they think that maybe we touched it. So then we're in there like repairing things like that.
right. Well, I think there's also other variables that you talk about the vetting process. It's like finding a contractor that you like, that you trust, that's within reason, budget wise. But then there's all those things like I have a family and 3 kids at home, and you and all of your random contractors are going to be in my house for 3 months while we're living here. That's important to take into consideration, and also adds stress to your job too. It's like, hey, we've been having dinner in the basement for the last 3 months and my kids are about to lose their mind. Can you guys hurry up and get finished? And it's like, yeah, that adds
Yeah.
pressure to your job too, to
Right.
again take on that stress or that pressure from the client
Yeah.
of like, yeah, my family's kind of falling apart here. Can you make sure that you get done so my family doesn't fall apart? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I can for sure.
Well, and
take
you
that.
even saying that too, it's like so often, and we have to remind ourselves of that too, but it's like we're going in to remodel their home, but we're also going to have to navigate, like you're saying, their family lifestyle, their work lifestyle. Since the pandemic, it's like a lot of people work from home. They'll be like, we have calls during this time. Can you not be, disruptive or
Yeah.
loud? Or we're out of town here. Can you not be in the home? And if we can or can't, then it's like navigating all these layers of complexity with their emotions that then in turn we're almost like trying to figure out.
Right. Yeah.
And
No, the project itself is one thing, but then it's like all
Yes.
the extra
Yep.
curriculars outside of that. It's a juggling act for sure.
Right. So how, for you guys, each of you answer this, like how does it every day, like how does it truly mentally affect you and the way your attitude is, your energy is? Jamie, you go first.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a loaded question where it's not like you can pinpoint one thing, but like really depending on the day by day, hour by hour, like your mood, like you can be really high from a good thing or a positive thing, and then you get an email or a complaint or whatever it might be, and then you like hit rock bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think no matter what, it will affect you.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how long you do it or who you are, like, and if it doesn't affect you at all and you have no emotional connection to it, then it's like you probably shouldn't be doing what you're doing, because like you have to care, but you have to almost like take it with a grain of salt and like almost hear it and then put it in the back of your mind and just like move forward and come up with a plan. And I think usually if you can like give them, like at least let them know like you heard it and you're working through it to kind of ease them, then you can kind of move forward. But yeah, like the mental part is tough. Like, yeah, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
I think he brings up a good point as far as if it doesn't affect you, then I think you don't care, which, every client's praise or complaint, like it does have an effect on me, which I think is like a good reminder of I'm in this for the right reasons versus like, I don't really care. I'm just trying to get a paycheck out of here and I don't care what your end product looks like. But, yeah, I think the ups and downs of every day are from week to week. It varies. I usually start real high on Monday morning and then go,
Do you
steady.
start high? I thought you start stressed. Like I have so much work to do.
Well, I feel like I start
don't know how.
motivated on Monday, and
Okay.
then you get into the groove of like, all right, we're knocking stuff out. And then on Friday, it's usually like, see you Monday.
So I'm curious, because Jamie and I being we're both in it, like it's hard for us to turn it off when we get home. Are you able to do that, or do you not? Or is Abby, your wife, like, stop? Or
if you were to ask Abby, she would say I do a pretty poor job of turning it off, which it's hard in this industry. It's like if I get a call and we've got a guy working, say, on a Saturday, and he's like, what's the code for the garage?
Right.
I can't answer him on Monday with what the
Right.
code is because that just doesn't work. So it sometimes requires an extra text or an extra email or call. Just
what about the emotional side of it?
Moving. I would say I take it home with me. There's definitely days where Abby's like, okay, so what happened today?
Okay.
And then we've been able to chat through some of that. And I think a good reminder for myself that I've tried to tell myself is like, I'm dealing with someone's home, but not someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes those can feel like they are hinging off of each other. But it's like, if I can separate the two of like, this is your kitchen, this isn't your life. But I often feel that sometimes your kitchen, once it's done, will be your livelihood, which is what it is, to each their own. But I think oftentimes talking yourself off that ledge of like, okay, this is in the grand scheme of things, not a major thing. And what also the beauty in construction is like, as quickly as you can demo something and put it back together, it's like most things, some require a lot of work, but like most things can be undone. Like if you were so displeased with whatever it was that we did, it's like, I can usually undo this at some point and make it right. So I think that reminder to myself of like, this is small in the grand scheme of things, and also everything's doable. It just takes some thought.
That's what I always say and think too. I'm like, well, us as a team, we're constantly like, we're not saving lives here, you guys. Like, we're just making their home beautiful. And it's like thinking about clients and their mentality, right? Like, we're always trying to put ourselves in their shoes too, to be like, okay, well, what is their perception? What are they going through? And we'll always try to say like, there's clearly other things going on here, but unfortunately we're the ones who are going to have to be the punching bag.
Right.
And so I think that's just really hard too, but I think it's good as well. Like our team, one of the things we kind of do for coping or working through things, good or bad, I don't know, but it's like, we can usually, like, we're very open and we're very friendly, so we can kind of make jokes back and forth to one another, versus potentially maybe if you worked for someone else, it's like, nope, you buttoned it up. And like,
act like nothing's
you don't talk like that to your boss, whereas we kind of just like almost make lightheart of it and try to add a little funniness, even though it's probably not that funny. But I think, that's one of the ways we like
can be undone or redone, like Topher mentioned. Like, that is what we do. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're that unhappy with a thing, other than time and money, like, it can all be redone.
Yeah, like, I think that's it too. Like, you guys, you two specifically, it's just like, you can do anything. So we're always like, calm, like, it's okay, calm down. Like, we will be there and we will fix it. We will make it right. I think that kind of leads me to another discussion is, however, with that being said, and we're kind of, working through some of these challenges right now, but it's like, one of our things is we do help guide in selections, and we guide based on the quality that we know and the vendors that we work with, because we know it's going to be quality product and we know it's going to be a good experience. And sometimes when clients choose to go maybe with a less expensive option, or maybe it's one of their suppliers or vendors or people they work with, which we're always like, yep, no problem. But then other things can suffer, and then we kind of are the brunt of it. And so like navigating that too is just a little bit more complicated. But I think as homeowners, sometimes they're like, I don't understand why this contractor won't let me, go pick this and that. And, sometimes I'm like, it's hard to understand, but I'm like, I see why they do it, because they know exactly their process, that the project's going to run smoothly. Was that you?
Perfect.
They know exactly their process. The project's going to run smoothly. But, little things are like, the homeowner could be like, no, like, it will. And it's like, no, you have no idea behind the scenes, like the coordination that it takes as contractors to ensure that your project runs smoothly on time. And that's why the people we choose to work with, it's like, they all also work together.
Right.
Our plumber knows our electrician, they know our painter, our drywaller. And so it just helps in the operations of all of it, and tension with those people too.
Right. Well, yeah, I think to that same point, it loosely ties in with, I won't say like mental health, but I would say like the general well-being of your company. It's like you spend so much time doing projects over and over and over again and figuring out what process works the best. And ultimately, the process that works the best is what makes your team operate and gel the best together. So it's like when you follow that process that you've created, ultimately through that job, you are going to find more success. So when you throw a wrench into that, where it's like client wants to handle all the painting, it may seem like a small thing to say, okay, no problem, you can do that. But then it's, okay, well, then what happens when the quality of the paint isn't up to their or our standards? And then, it's just this trickle effect of
or they all of a sudden get busy and then they couldn't get it done in time, and they're like, we need a couple more days, and now we're like, but we can't push all of our people.
Right, which then adds stress to us, and then we can't start our next job. And so it's just that little thing that they wanted to put in that project seems minuscule in the grand scheme of the project, but then creates more stress. Then you're going home and you're like, oh, when are we ever going to finish this? When are we going to get paid?
Right.
And it's that thing over and over again.
Juggle.
Yeah.
So recognizing burnout, and what do you guys do? Let's chat just a little bit more about that. Like, if another contractor is listening to this, or someone else that works in the industry, like, what are things that you try to think about or do to, because I know in this industry it's easy to just keep working around the clock, weekends, because we're always chasing the job to get finished and then chasing the next job, and it's just like feels like we're on a hamster wheel sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it's such a labor driven field to where you feel like I have 5 things left on my punch list. I just need X amount of time. Maybe it's a week, maybe it's a month, in order to complete that, and I can just put my nose to the grindstone and go for it. But how many times can you truly do that before it's like,
right,
I haven't seen my kids in 2 weeks because I've worked every single night or whatever. So I think it's hard to manage that, because it is seemingly so attainable sometimes to just get on a job site and grind.
Yeah.
But that's not sustainable.
So is there anything that you do mentally or physically to keep yourself in check? I guess it would be boundaries too.
Yeah.
Like to try to avoid burnout.
I think
have you been burnt out?
Yeah. I think from like a client, well, I would say Jamie probably takes it on.
Are you burnt out right now?
No, I'm good. We're good. I think being an employee versus an owner, I think there's other things that are considered from Jamie's perspective than probably are from my perspective, because I'm thinking the client, I'm thinking the job, I'm thinking maybe some future projects or whatever. But then it's like, as an owner, you have so many more things to worry about. Like, you're basically keeping this thing afloat. And like, I don't take that pressure home with me necessarily. But I think one thing that I've found and I'm grateful for at this company is like using Jamie or whomever on the team as kind of a sounding board of, dude, this is how I'm feeling. This is where I'm at. And sometimes I don't need, okay, then let's go there tomorrow and bang all this out. It's like, I hear you. Your feelings are valid, and we'll get to it, and then sit down, make a schedule for the next day, week, month, whatever, and then you can kind of talk yourself off of that ledge of like everything's going down.
Right.
So yeah, I would say just taking a step back from everything and not trying to force yourself into it without a plan is one way that I've found burnout to be avoidable. But I don't know. I think Jamie could probably speak on more of like full scale burnout, because I know once he leaves a job site, his job doesn't necessarily stop, whereas mine is a little more dry.
Well, and something I do too, like when I see it with Jamie, I text you and or Ethan together, and I'm like, heads up, he might need some extra love today, or watch out, or just like, this is what's happening. And so just so you know, like, he's not going to ask for help, but if you have time, like, please chat with him.
Could be needed.
Yeah. What would you say, Jamie?
As far as how to avoid it, or how do you get
out
of it?
How, when you're coming up against it, which I feel like.
How to get yourself into it.
Like, I feel like
Well, I mean-
yesterday you were probably, well, we just got back from KBIS and IBS. That was the past video we just chatted through. And I would say with you, we got home and you literally said, normally I'm so excited after we get home from KBIS and IBS, but this time I'm not. You were like, I'm not excited. I'm exhausted. Like, you were feeling burnt out on Monday going back to work. So chat through. Why are you laughing? Chat through that.
Well, it's kind of like a two-part reason, but I think one, like when I'm around like other people in the industry and like hanging out and talking to them, like, yeah, it can be great to like, oh, you want to push to be like whoever it might be, like, oh, I want to get there eventually, or
Like colleagues that you aspire. And,
yeah,
yeah.
but on the
mentors that
other
we
end of it
hang out
is
with.
like, oh, we all deal with the same shit.
Mhm.
Like,
no matter what level.
yeah, like, is our industry ever like good?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of
You can say it.
there's
I
a
can
lot
tell
of
you're
like
holding
highs
back.
and lows, but yeah, it's like, oh, even if I am like whoever up top, is like they deal with everything we deal with too.
Right. Like you're
Like,
sitting
on a
there
different
like,
level.
once we get there, then we won't have to deal with this. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, they're still dealing with this.
Yeah, like,
Great.
it doesn't ever go away, but
Yeah.
I think for like actual burnout, like in my job, I think one thing that helped for sure is like early on when I was doing like a ton of the work, like now we can like hire our painter.
Mhm.
If there's an issue with the paint, then you call the painter and they deal with it. And then on top of that, I think we've been really good within the last couple of years of like, here's where we work, like whatever, 7 to 5,
Mhm.
give or take. And anything beyond that, like, I'm going home because I have to do kid pickup. I have kid drop off.
Mhm.
I have whatever, hockey or whatever it might be. And then on the weekend, like, we don't work on the weekends anymore
Yeah.
unless we absolutely have to.
Or if you're thinking about the week ahead and you have something coming up, then you guys both like
Yeah.
will put in
But for the
time.
most part, like, we are really good at not overworking,
Mhm.
which I think overworking is typically why you get burnt out.
Right.
And then, like, if you have a client who's difficult to deal with, like, I think we've been through it. Like, we just know, like, okay, it's annoying right now. We'll figure it out. We'll get to the end, and everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
Yeah.
again, I go back to like you're dealing with someone's house here.
yeah,
Like they're, unless there's
no
a
one-
leak,
no one's gonna die.
unless it's on fire. It's not like we're tailoring wedding dresses and her wedding's tomorrow, and it's like you don't have an option not to get this thing done. It's like, so what? You're gonna cook your first meal in
Yeah.
your kitchen a week later than we anticipated? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or it could be raining in February, and you have to go to a project
On Valentine's
on
Day.
Valentine's Day to try and tarp it because there's water in their bedroom.
Yeah.
Which that client was very grateful and very kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again,
But
it goes
that's
back
what
to
we
the
run
client.
into. Yeah.
Like, that client could have been very mad, and they could have, who knows what they could have done, but they were understanding of it and grateful that we made the attempt to come out and try and remedy the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say even on that note too, like speaking in how much that affects us when we do have good clients, because kind of what you're saying, no matter what the project is, we are going to have challenges. And again, in a recent video, you shared your favorite project and it was the coolest edition ever, we called it. But we ran into so many obstacles, but that client was just understanding and gracious and nice. And sure, at times a little firm, but for good reasoning. And we ended up having a great relationship. He trusted us from the beginning. He knew no matter what, we were going to figure it out and get the job done. And you even say like that was your favorite project, not because it was really cool, but beyond that, because it was a client that emotionally didn't take such a toll on you guys,
Yeah. I think
which is huge.
Yeah.
if you can be reasonable as a client, you will get so much more out of your contractor. And for every 5 complaints that you give, maybe 1 compliment you could throw in there just to let them know, like, there's something that you're doing or have done that I
Mhm.
appreciate and met my standards.
Yeah.
I think, again,
And throwing a
it's
thank you here
really,
and there.
yeah. I mean, it really depends on the client's personality type, but I think what's hardest for us sometimes is when the client plays the victim card one too many times and is like,
and the entitlement card along with the
When
victim
we
card
hear
is
the-
really
poor
hard.
me,
Yeah,
poor
we hear the
me.
doom and gloom.
Right.
Like we make a big like a huge headway in the project, and their cabinetry is in, and the cabinetry is perfect and beautiful. We don't hear one word about that, but we hear
The
the
drywall got
cabinet
dinged.
guy hit the wall.
Yeah.
It's like,
We'll take care of it. But yes, like what about the cabinets? Like,
You're
did
but it
we
looks
just
so good. Are you excited? Like
overlook all that?
right, some progress, yeah. Okay, so one of the last kind of in this conversation we'll chat about is just boundaries and pushback, which we're not the best at, but I think we're getting better. So how have you guys developed some boundaries and in order to give a little bit of pushback for our mental sanity? And I think it's hard too because we're such a team who we just want to help, or we want to go and we want to, like, we'll give this quick example. Little things when our clients like, while you're here, will you do this? And we hung a TV once and we're like, yeah, no problem, we'll hang the TV. And something got damaged in the midst of that. And then that hanging a TV for free ended up costing us thousands of dollars because we had to go and fix something. Because then they're like, well, you damaged it, you need to fix it.
Right.
And so now we're like, okay, no more hanging TVs. And so, like, how do we create and that was, like for us, it was like, oh my gosh, like mentally a little bit exhausting. And so, and that's just one of many stories we have. And so it's like, how do we now create boundaries around things within our jobs? And how do we push back a little bit as best as we can? I'm the guilty one of being like, no problem.
Yeah.
We'll take care of that.
I think as a team, we're all kind of like people pleasers, and we don't like confrontation, which in construction isn't great, but having that care and like, I don't know, we want to do right by everyone is good too. But yeah, I mean, kind of touching on it before, I think the boundary thing with like having kids has been huge. Because like I have to leave because I can't leave them at school.
Right.
It's like
don't
whether
have an
there's an
option.
issue or not,
Which
like,
has happened a few times, but
yeah, but it's just like you have to do it. We're like, Morgan and I talk about here and there, like if we were just married and didn't have kids or family,
if we could go back in time.
well, it's like, what would we do? We just work all the time,
Right.
And it'd be like you would literally be at the job on the weekend and like, but like,
Which
it doesn't do
necessarily
anything.
isn't healthy, but
well, then you're
Yeah.
gonna get burnt out.
right, for sure.
But yeah, like having little things like that where like, okay, I have to go do whatever. And it doesn't even have to be like a kid pickup. It could be like, I'm going to play golf or I'm going to play pickleball or
Yeah.
I'm just not going to work right now. Like,
I don't have anything to do, but I'm leaving.
yeah. I'm
Which
going to
none of
watch
us do that.
TV.
Yeah. I want to go sit down. I think, yeah, too, with the topic of boundaries or expectations or whatever you have, it's oftentimes a learning process of, I haven't run into this yet, and now I know I need to set that expectation or boundary. I can't even think of an example, but it's like as you do more projects and things come up, such as the TV thing, it's like, well, I would have never if that would have went seamlessly, I would have been like, sure, let's hang a TV every single time, no problem. But then it just takes the one time where it doesn't go well, where you're like, all right, I need again, back to the processes. I need to add this to my process of you either need to charge for it or we just don't do it at all.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like you're getting way better at some pushback too, that I'm like, I don't even think I'd be able to do that when asks come up too. And it's usually around hurry up, can't you get someone here tomorrow? And you're like, no, I have them scheduled for Wednesday and Wednesday it is. Like, I'm not going to rearrange all of our schedules.
Right.
Just for.
Yeah. I feel like it's a win that I even got them scheduled.
Well,
right.
That kind of ties back to the like relationship thing. Like we have a relationship with all of our contractors and vendors where it's like, if they tell you I can be here on whatever day, it isn't because they're pushing you off. They have other obligations.
Right.
To deal with. Like everybody has like multiple jobs that they're doing, and we have to fit in where we can fit in.
Yeah. So when do you recognize relational incompatibility? Like, when do you know the client isn't the right fit?
So typically, like at the walkthrough is where we get a good feel for that. Like we're pretty much dating you as much as you're dating us.
Mm-hmm.
If not more, honestly.
Yeah.
Sometimes hot dates and sometimes
Yeah.
not
When
great
we kind
dates.
of laugh too about about who is going to the walkthrough, and sometimes Jamie's even like, we got the whole team going to the walkthrough, and to us that's dollar signs, you know. And even though everyone's salary based, but it's like we still are doing the hours here. There could be a better use of time.
Right.
But also, I'm always thinking, I'm like, you know what? It's good for us to vibe it out. It's good for one person to be holding the conversation while the other person is like actually like figuring out the project, getting the room scoped out. So a lot of times I'm like, it is important to have a lot of people there just for the fact of we don't want, I always say, like, someone can just sneak on in and I'm like, how'd they pass us again? Like,
Right. Yeah, I mean, we were at a job last week, just Jamie and I, and the clients didn't really have any real plans or a clue. And Jamie and I kind of walked in there and were like, you could do a little bit of this. And we didn't really figure anything out, but we were there for probably 45 minutes to an hour and walked away and was like, I'm willing to put in work
oh, I love that.
to figure out what you might want to do in here
Right.
and get
Because you got a good vibe.
people in here.
Yeah.
Because I would probably enjoy working with
Oh,
you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Versus if you like, yeah, I don't really know what to do. Tell me what we should do. And then we also don't have a clue. I'd walk away and be like, if you call us, great. If not, then
Right.
I feel like
Yeah,
we didn't
we're
miss
good.
out on much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have had jobs where we've walked away and it's like, man, I got some weird vibes, and I can't really. There's not like we have this checklist of things that you need to.
I mean, we
meet.
kind of have a checklist in a sense.
Yeah.
Like in our walkthrough, we're a little bit.
I think you have more of like a
intuition.
how do they treat each other, things like that. Where I think about that, but I think Topher and I are both pretty good at like reading people.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
like we'll leave jobs and like within a minute, Topher's like, dude, and I'm like, yeah, I felt that too.
Yeah, well, you do.
And you guys don't even have to
walkthrough-
say anything, and you're like, we gotta go.
You do a walkthrough, and the couple that you're working with, and it's like one is like belittling the other.
Yeah.
And one, it's uncomfortable, but two, it's like if they're capable of doing that in front of you,
Yep.
that's probably part of their personality.
Yeah.
Which then would probably come out towards you if
Yeah.
something were to go wrong, which something always goes wrong or there's a
Yep.
challenge. So it's
And I would even say with that, something that's really surprising, I guess I haven't shared it, that just hit me, but it's like, it's usually the wife to the husband. And we're like, oh my God, like overpowering the conversation, or like, can you chime in here? Or
Yeah.
like, can
Or
you
the
not?
husband's
And we're
like-
immediately like,
Disconnected.
yeah, or
Where
they're
you can tell
disconnected.
he's like, don't want to do this project.
Yeah.
And the
So that's
wife
one
is
of the
like
big
dreaming
things.
these dreams, and he's like, I'm not paying for that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or maybe I am, but regardless, we have to make sure they're one, emotionally in check with each other and on the same page.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And if they're not, and then if they have any sort of, I would say everyone on our team too, which organically and is interesting, like we all have the same morals, values, ethics, religion. And so we all walk with a certain light, I guess.
Right.
And so when we see that in other people, when they don't have that, we're kind of like, eh.
No, yeah. I mean, the project is, 2 to 5 months, whatever you want to call it. It's not huge in the significance of life, but it's like if you have 4 projects going on and that one is a nightmare for 3 months, it's like that is a long 3 months to be
Yeah.
a nightmare for, and can then trickle into I'm not very motivated to start the next job because I've just been absolutely
Yep.
pushed to the ground for the last 3 months.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think, vetting the client and being able to say no, even if it's a really cool opportunity, just because that
Yeah.
it's not
Which
good
is
for your
sometimes
team.
hard too.
Yeah.
Like putting that boundary and having to walk away from the project without pricing or something like that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's like no money is worth that.
No.
Like,
No. What's interesting too is like you were saying, as our kids getting older, I've noticed we have different boundaries, or I even see it in you. Like you were fishing with Grayson the whole day yesterday when I know that there's a million things work on your mind, or that you could have ran to a job site quick yesterday instead of today, but like you didn't. And I would say even I take so much more jobs in that way, like emotionally to heart now too, as in, because I think of episodes we had in our past and I know exactly what stage our kid was going through. You know, like I'm like, oh my gosh, that, like I said it the other day, I was like, we went to that job site when I had just had Beckham.
Yeah.
And like, there's moments that make me pissed that I'm like, I was so stressed the first 3 months of Beckham's life because we were dealing with a situation that was so ridiculous and it ruined those first 3 months of my child's life, you know? And so now I just look at each season of my kid's life because it goes by so fast and we're like in clients' homes, every job for 3 to 6 months. And I'm like, I don't want any chunk of my kid's season of life that they will literally never get back.
Yeah.
Like
to be affected
drained.
by. Yeah.
Or that I'm going to remember like, oh yeah, I remember like a football game once going to that. And all I could think about was this one client, you know? So it just affects us so much more about things that we don't forget about. Or even if we had a whatever bad experience, it's like we might be driving in the neighborhood and I'm immediately like, not going to that holiday. Like it brings me right back.
Yeah.
And it doesn't leave.
Right.
Like, never
again,
leaves.
we're talking about someone's house.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Like that. To take 3 months away or feel like you were stressed for 3 months because of someone's house.
Isn't that kind of crazy?
In comparison to your kid's first 3 months.
Yeah. And I remember, I don't want to
look back at the project and think about it now, you're like,
what? Don't even
everything's
think about
fine.
it.
Yeah.
There's no issue or whatever it could have been. Like,
yeah, there's one project and you'll probably think of it, but I'm just like, it was so ridiculous what we're even doing there. We're doing very minimal things. And a couple times the husband, because he just didn't know us very well, like truly treated us like complete trash and like snapped on us. And I remember once, like, again, when I pull into my kids' daycare now, like I remember exactly the spot we were sitting in. I picked up the phone. Jamie was in the car and I was so just like caught off guard, but I've never ever been spoken to like that. And I was just like at a loss and I immediately like didn't even know how to react. And he ended up dropping me and the kids off and drove straight down there to do whatever just because. And remember, you were like just fuming.
When that client also called me.
Yep. And totally
pretty much MF'd me and threatened me and told me not to fuck with him.
Yeah. Literally said that.
And I was like.
And you didn't even say anything.
Noted.
With him.
I'd never even met the dude.
Yeah.
And then like a couple days later, I met him in person and he's like, oh, hey. I'm like, dude, fuck you.
But so anytime I even remotely, I see that spot at pickup and I think of, I can say his name too. Yeah, it just has a little ring to it. And then I'm like, and driving anywhere remotely close, like if I go by, even by the Lifetime over down in Eden Prairie, I'm like, yeah. Like, so I think even that experience made me create some boundaries with communication with clients and really like each of us having our roles and be very aligned as a team. Because I think that's another thing is sometimes clients will play the, point the finger game. Whereas we're like, no, we're all on the same page. We all talk. We all are talking about your project. Like one person did or didn't do something. But yeah, I think that's one thing, like creating boundaries and then making sure we're all in our roles and our process, which Kayla helps us with. And I like to get off course. But how do you guys, this one's really hard for me, is how when we do get attacked from clients or get this negative feedback, how do you remove that from truly knowing that it's a reflection of you personally? Because I think we all are very personal people. And for me, it's really hard. Like it does make me second guess like who I am, what I'm doing. Because I always say I try to be like servant leadership. And sometimes I'm like, now maybe I'm not. But one thing I constantly repeat in my mind is like, don't mistake my kindness for weakness. Because I'm also like, that is what gets me in trouble of like thinking it is who I am when it's not who I am. So how do you guys detach from your character? Like it truly feels like they're attacking your character when you know that there's other things going on.
Yeah. I think for me, it's been there. I don't have like an exact answer of how I've done that. I just have found a way to do it. And I think it's both sides. I think it can be super rewarding and fill you with a ton of pride to see a job that you do really well. You get a ton of recognition on, we've got following online, and so I've got friends and family that's like, I saw what you did, and like that feels great.
Yep.
But on the flip side, when it's the negatives and it's the complaints, you kind of have to detach yourself from both. And it's like my identity is not found in how poor of work or how great of work I did or how much I'm being recognized or how much I'm being put down. It's like this is a means to an end, really.
Right.
Like it's not, if I'm staking my life on this company, my job,
Right.
whether it be at Construction Style or whether it be at wherever, like I think the bottom line is like I need to be able to go home and say that I'm worth and living for more than this job and my paycheck.
Yeah.
And so again, I don't have like an answer of do X, Y, and Z to get to that point, but I think it's just this journey of no, this isn't like, this doesn't define me.
Right.
And so not that it doesn't hurt when you get bad things and not that it doesn't feel good when you get recognized, but
it takes a lot of work a little time to separate it, though. I think time and work.
When I can't imagine like I'm an employee of this company, so it's like this isn't my baby necessarily. I've been here for a while, but like this is, I can only imagine it would be harder for you guys as the owners and starting it from this to now where it's at.
Early on, I would take it more to heart. Like one, because I was like physically doing a lot of the work. And two, it's like early on in your career, like you're going to take everything like, oh, maybe I'm not good at whatever it might be. But now,
makes you like doubt yourself a little bit.
Well, if there's an issue, it's like, how many projects have we done that have got in magazines or whatever it might be and recognition and won awards for things where I'm like, we are capable. That one thing, like we can remedy it.
Yeah.
Or
if you're going to be rude,
maybe you're
like,
cuckoo.
Yeah.
And you're living in a made up world where like, oh, the light isn't right now. Like there's a little blemish, but you have to have perfect direct morning sunlight for that to show. And it's like,
which is a very true story. And then we kept going back out there and we're
everything.
Like, we still don't see what you're talking about.
Yeah. And to add to Topher's thing too, we're like, oh, you do well. And like, it doesn't pump my ego. I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, both of you are really good at staying in check, like feeling humbled by it.
I think all that comes from our early on childhood where like Topher was a good baseball player. Like I grew up wrestling. Like we both learned a lot from that. No matter how good you are, there's someone better.
Right.
You can be like winning and then you get beat. And when you get beat, like you get humbled and you just take it and you move on.
Right.
Like
just keep trying to do the best you can.
Yeah, I think learning things like that early on is important for your life as you get older.
I love it.
Where it's like you win, you're like, cool.
Right.
I'll move on.
I think that is a really good point because there are definitely some correlations between that and like playing the game of baseball. It's like I was less concerned about being successful and more so like I love this game and I love playing this game, whether it was practice, whether it was games, whatever. But I was less concerned about like being the absolute best and being recognized as the best and more so like I really enjoy this. And I think the same goes for construction. I want to be the best for sure. I want to give you the best product, but it's like I really enjoy the process of construction from taking your cabinets off to, getting the final clean going and being like, wow, this is really satisfying to see this process go from,
and to know the joy that they're going to have now living in the end product and like the memories they're going to make.
Right. Sometimes a little too much joy.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. So to wrap it up, my final 2 questions, which quick ones, but what would you say, first you're going to speak to a contractor and then to a homeowner, but to a contractor, anyone that's coming into this or that's really struggling on the mental side, not the product physical side, like what piece of advice would you give?
You're working with someone's home and not someone's life.
I like it. Jamie?
If there's an issue, we can always redo it. Like, don't hang your hat on like, oh no, I completely ruined that.
Yeah.
Like, things can be remedied.
Yeah.
And you probably won't have it happen on the next one.
And then you learn.
Right? Like if there's 5 bad things, chances are you're not going to do those same 5 bad things on your next one.
Right.
And it's might suck while you're going through it, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say to add to that too is lean on other people in the industry. I think that's one thing, especially if you're good at your job and like can figure something out, you know, you're like, I'll figure this out. But truly, I think just having someone else in the industry to be able to call to just be like, this is really hard to navigate and I don't know what to do.
Well,
and it's someone who's removed too that can help, which we have a few people,
Yeah.
but Jay Kath obviously is one for me. And it's like, I can call Katie at any time and she can say, this is what I'd say. And she's so unemotional about the situation. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
Because I'm too stuck in the emotional side. So it's like having someone in the industry that gets it, that can truly just help you quickly move through it.
Well, and don't be afraid to ask the question.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people in construction are like, oh, this is what I do. I should know how to do everything.
right.
Yes.
When it's like, if
No,
I don't
you
know how to do whatever it might be, it's like, lean on people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if they think I'm an idiot, because
Mhm.
maybe I am an idiot for that point, but then
Yeah.
I'll learn,
Right.
Yeah.
and then you know for the future.
Yeah. I like it. Okay. And then to homeowners who I think sometimes forget about that aspect. And I think we do a good job at, we try to show up online to really not put ourselves in the position of that we're hired help and we still get a little bit of a beating. So I can only imagine people who are treated as hired help and not a partner. That's one thing we strive is like, we're your partner in creating this home. Like we're doing this together. It's
Yeah.
not you've hired us and like we need you in these conversations and to help make some of these decisions. So what would you tell a homeowner when thinking about like the mental side of like to their contractor? Like what are some things they can remember to do or not do? Because we're people with hearts.
I'd say, remember, I'm dealing with your house, not your life. No,
We should make a t-shirt. That
You
Yeah.
are alive.
right.
You're healthy.
Yeah. Let me check your pulse here.
I'm always like, first world problems. It
Yeah.
looks like you haven't been through some hard stuff. Maybe
Totally.
you should.
Yeah. Let's create something for you. No, I think approaching your contractor with grace will give you so much more fulfillment, and I think will end up being better for you in the long run, because as we've discussed, every contractor is going through the same thing of like trying to do this for the right price. I'm trying to do this for the right time. It's like there's no mystery behind that. And I
Right.
think your attitude towards the contractor, I think, can get you a long ways or not very far at all. And
Mm-hmm.
so treating them, not that they're, up here, because you are paying them and
Yeah.
you have your expectations, which I think is fair, but I think taking into consideration of like, what is the message that I'm trying to convey? Am I trying to scare my contractor? Am I trying to tell him like, I mean business and I'm not messing around? It's like, how far is that going to get you? Like,
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you Karen at the grocery store asking to talk to a manager?
Right.
Like, that's kind of a tough look, but I think, yeah, just approaching them and treating them a specific way, but also just like being honest with them. I think throughout the process, if you're really displeased with something, or if you really enjoy something, hey, I like that you're here at 8:00 every morning. It's like, cool. That's encouraging to hear.
Yep.
And I had a really good chat with your electrician. He's a good guy. You guys should keep
Yeah.
him around. Like, sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks for the insight.
Yep. Don't forget about the little positives.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Jamie?
Well, we're all on the same team. Like, yeah, I get you're paying us a lot of money to do your project. We're not forcing you to do that project, for one. But we need to make a living, and this is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Like people need to trust the contractor. And if you don't, then you shouldn't have hired them.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand there are bad contractors out there who are out to get people and take their money and run. But I think what we've like built online, like we're not going anywhere, and we're trying to like bring your vision to life. So you need to trust what we're doing. And if at the end of the project you're not happy with it, or if there's issues that you found, then bring it up. But we don't need the over the shoulder during the project, watching what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because we know what we're doing.
Micromanagement of it.
Right.
And that's something you say all the time is like, what industry do you have someone watching every single move that you make over your shoulder? You know, when other industries, it's like they're doing something, making something, working on your teeth. Like you can't even see what's going on inside there, right? Or and it's like there's probably errors that are made, but then they're fixing them as they go. Like the added extra noise just creates chaos. And it's like, wait till your project's done.
When usually we know more about what's going on and imperfections than you do. Mm-hmm. Like we're going to get to it.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's an interesting point. Like I feel like it's the closest attainable thing. And I'm not saying what we do is like brain surgery or anything. Like it
is complicated though.
Yeah, but I would say like you see a kitchen, you're like, I feel like I could do this.
Yeah.
Like as a homeowner, generally speaking, I feel like a lot of people think, and they can, like a lot of people could do this, but
it definitely won't look like the Pinterest photo that you see
right.
online,
But anything else that you own in your life, like a car, whatever, it's like I'm gonna send it to the guy and he's gonna do whatever, and my teeth, I'm gonna
and
go
then you
into
go
the
pick
dentist.
up your car and they give you a bill. And you're like, what?
Right.
and you pay it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't go, I'm not going to pay this.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is another episode coming up. I love it. Okay, well, that was a great conversation, guys. Cheers. It's a wrap on men's mental health.
Cheers.
Way to go, guys.
I feel so healthy.
I love you.